What's going on, everybody? We are in Sherman, Texas on the property that has taken a little bit longer, but we're on the final stretch. On today's video, I'm going to break down what it's like to do a full renovation on a property like this, everything gutted down. I'm going to break down some of the numbers and make sure you stick around. The craziest thing happened that's never happened to me at any of the properties. The original owner that lived in this property and grew up came by randomly and we did a quick interview, so make sure you stay tuned for the entire video. Let's get right into it. So as I mentioned, we are in Sherman, Texas, which is the outskirts of DFW. Where exactly is Sherman? Sherman, Texas is located about an hour from downtown Dallas, about an hour from DFW airport, and actually an hour from Oklahoma. It's a fast and upcoming city that has a lot of activity. There's a lot of development. As I had mentioned previously, the TI plant for chips is being built about 5-7 minutes from this particular property. And I know they're investing billions of dollars in that plant. But what I wanted to talk to you guys right now is breaking down some of the numbers. We get a lot of questions on what does it take to renovate a property? What are some of the costs that I should know about? And to give you a ballpark idea, out here in North Texas, what I'm paying some of my contractors with materials and labor. So the first thing that we had to do is walk the property and obviously get an idea of, hey, what is this property gonna need to get redone? From the very beginning, we really knew that this property had been vacant for a couple of years. It had no renovations and I don't know how long, right? So we knew that we were gonna do pretty much a little bit of everything, right? So we started with the foundation. So the foundation for this particular property, since it's a pier and beam, we spent right around, I believe, $5,000 for the work on the property. So that's kind of an idea to give you guys, depending on how many piers you're gonna need. But we spent, like I said, right around $5,000. It could be a little bit less depending if you need less work, or it could be a little bit more. Pier and beam is typically a little bit less than versus a slab. So this particular property is pier and beam. And then the second thing is the roof, right? We knew that we were gonna have to replace the entire roof. So we did replace this roof last year. And if you guys have kept up with material costs, a lot of the materials have gone up, especially the shingles, the roofs, right? So right now they're pretty high. But what we paid, I want to say about 7 months ago in this particular property, we paid about $7,000 with material and labor. So that gives you a good idea that a roof, which is 1,000 square foot house, should cost you anywhere from $7,000 to $10,000 depending on obviously material costs. And then the other thing that we did was we painted the exterior brick, right? We don't always like to paint the brick, and I know there's a lot of people that are so for it and so against it, and I get it. It's a little bit older home, but the reason that we painted the brick because there was a lot of damage to the exterior brick, and it just didn't look nice. So we went ahead and sprayed the entire brick, and the cost of that, depending, we're spending right around $2,000, $2,500 for the exterior paint work, which is going to be the trim and all the brick, right? Making sure that they go ahead and pressure wash it, power wash it, making sure that they primer it with a couple of coats, and then make sure they lay in the file layer. One of the very first things that we did, that when we bought the property, there was a lot of overgrown shrubs and trees, branches all over the property, and especially as you guys can see, there's a huge tree right up front, but even an enormous one in the backyard. I believe it's a pecan tree that we had to get a professional to go out there and cut because a lot of those limbs were all over the roof, and there was a lot of liability. So we wanted to make sure that we cut a lot of it down. We spent close to almost $2,000 actually getting professionals to cut a lot of those limbs. It was a lot of work. It doesn't look like it now, but there was a lot of, like I said, overgrown shrubs. So landscaping, always plan, $1,500 to $2,000 to spend on landscaping depending on your scope of work. All right, guys, let's go inside and I'll show you what we did inside the house, and we'll talk about a couple of things that we did. So whenever you're doing a big project and you're going to be doing a lot of electrical, a lot of plumbing, it's a lot easier for a lot of contractors and for us to just rip out the old sheetrock, demo it, and then that way the electricians, the plumbers, everybody can work out a little bit easier. But just know that once you start removing sheetrock, you are going to run into issues that you may not know about initially when you first walk the property. That's exactly what happened at this house. So once we started taking out sheetrock, we noticed that there was actually a lot of termite damage in this particular area of the house that we had to repair, right? So we had to take a lot of the studs out and some of the shiplap and get treatment for termites, right? And those are some of the things that you're going to be running into when you're doing a full remodel home, is you're going to be always having the unknowns and having some surprises. So you always got to plan that there's going to be surprises in big projects, big renovations. So this particular room that we're standing in here, there actually used to be a door right here that we ended up closing off because there's a bedroom in there. And my wife, who was actually always the ideas of open concepts and kind of seeing what makes sense, was the one that decided to close this off. All the windows were old, so we had to go in and replace all the windows. And there's a lot of variation, obviously, on price on windows, but just to get an idea what we spent on this particular house, all the windows replaced with the window and labor, we spent right around $4,500 to $5,000 on the windows. So that gives you an idea whenever you guys are doing your budgets and you're looking at a property to plan, $4,000 to $5,000 for windows. We obviously rewired the entire house. So like I said, we took out all the sheetrock out, and we knew that we were gonna have to get permits to rewire, put a new electrical panel. And since you're doing all the work, you might as well just go ahead and do that. So what did we pay to put all new electrical outlets, rewire the entire house, put a new panel on the back? We're spending right around $7,500 with permits, materials, and labor to rewire this 1,000 square foot house. So just to give you an idea, like I said, in North Texas, that's what I'm spending with some of the contractors that I have a relationship with, $7,500 to fully rewire this particular property. We also are putting a electrical fireplace in here instead of the old, because we didn't want to deal with gas or wood burning and do some of the other things that we needed to repair that. So we just go ahead and slapped on an electrical fireplace, which is what most people want. It makes it look really nice, and we're gonna make sure that it's wired up so people can mount a nice TV. This is a good living room. Formal dining, went ahead and just kind of kept it the way that it is and replaced, like I said, all the sheetrock in here. My wife picked out all the lights and fixtures. Let's go over here to one of the bedrooms. We obviously just replaced the window, redid all the sheetrock in here, put new ceiling fans in every room, good sized closet. The one thing that we did in this property that, you always got to think about, what am I going to do as far as flooring? So this particular property, as you can see, we decided to keep the original hardwood floors and refinish them, right? So, most people, if they have a choice, they like hardwood floors, right? Have character, and there's a lot of reasons people prefer and like hardwood floors. So that's the reason that we decided to keep them as well. I had somebody come out and look at them and said, hey, there's a lot of damage in the kitchen. But the rest of the property is in pretty good shape where you'll be able to restore them. So what did it cost me for flooring in this house? We had to put new wood floors in the kitchen, just the kitchen area. So with materials and labor to refinish this entire house, it was about $3,500, right? Versus going out and putting some sort of vinyl plank or another type of flooring, it probably would have cost me right around $4,500 to $5,000 with materials and labor, because luxury vinyl planks are typically around $250, $275 a square foot, plus labor another $1.25. So we saved a little bit on the flooring. So we went ahead and did hardwood flooring. As you guys can see, we're on the final stretch. I believe there's somebody working in the bathroom. We'll go over there here in a second. But if you guys want to follow me over to the kitchen, a little bit smaller kitchen, but obviously for this area and for what it was, it actually is a little bit bigger than what it was when we first bought the property. So we kind of rolled it out, expanded. We tore out, there actually used to be a wall here. So that we took out that wall, that way we had a little bit bigger kitchen. One of the biggest questions that people are always asking us is, kitchen cabinets, right? A kitchen, how much is it going to cost me to renovate a kitchen? So if you guys can see this kitchen behind me, it's not that big. These particular cabinets that we install, they're brand new white shaker cabinets that are very popular right now. And they're a good, good quality. Obviously this isn't, maybe the quality that you're going to want to put in your dream house, but it's builder grade and it serves its purpose, right? So for us, this particular kitchen, I think, has 15 cabinets. So this kitchen, the cost of the cabinets was a little over $3,000, and then we pay about labor somewhere a little over $1,000, $1,200, $1,500 to have the cabinets installed. We're going to put granite countertops all along this side and this side here. And what is the cost for granite? So like I said, in North Texas, where I'm at currently right now for this particular project, and the contractor that I built a relationship and that has done plenty of kitchens for me, we're going to use just very basic Dallas white granite, which is what we use in the majority of our projects. For this kitchen, it's going to be right around $1,500 for granite countertops, which isn't bad at all, right? And that includes a new kitchen sink, stainless steel kitchen sink, and obviously labor, everything included, $1,500, which which that's that, right? So if you're looking at this kitchen, you got cabinets for about $4,500 with materials and labor, and you got $1,500 for the granite, right? So that gives you an idea of how much you would be spending, or how much we spent in this kitchen. Obviously, we spent a little bit on these can lights, these flush lights that we actually got on Amazon. So if you guys are curious where we bought these particular lights or which ones they are, I'll make sure to put a link in the video, and you guys can order the same lights. They're definitely less expensive than if you were to buy them at Lowe's or Home Depot. That's pretty much it. In the kitchen, obviously, we are going to get appliances, so we're going to figure probably another $1,700 for, we're going to put a dishwasher is going to go here. We got a refrigerator, and then the microwave and range there. So this is the kitchen area, and this is what we spent, to give you guys an idea. So let's go over to the bathroom, and I'll kind of show you guys the bathroom. It's a little bit smaller walk-in shower, but it serves its purpose. Small bathroom, but this is what we did. We took out we're kind of redesigned it, reconfigured it, and we're finishing it up. I'll make sure to do another video with the final product. But what did we spend in the bathroom? Right, in the bathroom area, we spent right around, I think materials were, I want to say $850 for all the materials, right? And labor, I think that's going to be somewhere around $1,500 for, all the tile work and, all the plumbing. So that gives you an idea of the bathroom, right? So $1,000, close to $1,000 on materials, and about $1,500 in labor, so about $2,500. Obviously, we had a vanity and fixture, so a little over $3,000 for that bathroom finish, right? So this is the other bedroom. As you guys can see, it's a decent size, and we went ahead and painted this particular house a new color. We tried out a new color. My wife was actually, as you guys know, we're probably going to be launching a new video on a property that we're renovating. It's going to be our homestead, and we're looking at different colors, different options, and my wife really loves this color for her house, and she's like, I like to see what it looks like on another project, so let's go ahead and try it on one of our projects to see if I like it. So make sure you guys stick around to find out exactly what color that we painted this house. It's actually Sherman Williams. As you guys know, most of the houses, guess what color we paint them, right? Agreeable gray. A lot of people paint them agreeable gray, but this particular color, I have to actually look because it's the first time, and I'll make sure to put it at the end of the video what color we painted this house. One thing that we also did in this property, if you guys look, we got all new vents, and we actually, of course, had to replace the central heat and air. So we replaced the inside and outside unit. So in this particular property, like I said, it's a little over 1,000 square feet. So what we paid in this area, what I paid, parts, labor, permits for this entire house is, and new ductwork, because we had to get new ducts, is we paid right around $7,000 for this house. So I know sometimes it may be a little bit less, a little bit more, but that gives you an idea of what to expect when you're buying a fixer-upper or a rental property, right? Let me show you guys the backyard and what that's like. So we have some leftover material here, leftover sheetrock, but this is kind of like a, I guess, patio that they had built out here that we didn't want to spend a whole lot, and it's still in pretty good shape. So we just we painted it and just left it. Somebody can come out here, enjoy, a cup of coffee and just kind of enjoy nature. And it's actually like, as you guys can see, a really nice, tree, and decent sized yard. But there was just a lot of junk. I'm gonna see if I can get some of the pictures when we first bought the property to show you guys that you could barely walk back here, and that we had plenty of work done. And you guys can see, this is a beautiful, beautiful, but huge tree. I mean, this gives you an idea how big this tree is, right? We do have a small workshop that we didn't do a whole lot other than just clean it up and just repaint it. So we went ahead and painted this as well. So that price that I gave you guys, that was included in the labor, painting this as well. So we did replace the roof and painted the trim and the exterior of this workshop as well. Good sized backyard for a family to enjoy. One thing that we didn't do, really not the need, but if I were to be living in here, something that I probably invest in the near future would be put a nice fence back here. But we didn't do that. Obviously, we didn't want to incur the cost because we didn't feel like there was a need to do that. So what are the plans for this property, right? When we first bought it, the same dilemma that we have now. It's like, okay, this is seems like a good opportunity to fix and flip it or to keep it as a rental. This project has taken a little bit longer, right, than we definitely planned. Mostly that's my fault because I had a lot of other projects, but I did want to break down kind of the numbers, right? So how did we find this property? We found this property through a relationship through my network of other wholesalers, other investors that found this house, right? So I bought it for $75,000 from another wholesaler, right? He found it. I said, you know what? The numbers make sense. $75,000 from the numbers that I was kind of looking at. I think that I'm going to be all in as far as all the renovations that I've done to it, about $60,000. So if you do 75,000 plus 60, that brings me to about $135,000, $140,000, somewhere in that ballpark of all in on the property. Now, the dilemma is always, right, should we keep it as a rental or should we go ahead and sell it on the retail market? Now, I have to run the final comps because it's obviously been a while since I've looked at the numbers, but I figure and I think that we're able to retail this property somewhere around the $200,000 range if we were to sell it on the retail market. Now, if we were to keep it as a rental, believe it or not, in this area, we can probably rent this house for somewhere around $1,400, maybe even $1,450 a month. In this area, there's not a lot of rentals. It's right by the highway. It's going to be 5 minutes away from TI and a lot of big corporations in this area. So we're just trying to, you know, consider everything, right? The benefits of owning a rental property is you have appreciation, right? The property is typically, especially in an up and coming area, going to appreciate 5, 7, 8% a year. There's also the benefit of taxes, right? Where you're going to pay less in taxes because you own the rental property. The benefits of selling on the retail market is you obviously get a big chunk of money up front, and then you can go on to your next project and or invest that money into something else. Both options are not bad. Obviously, I don't think that I would get what we'd have got a year ago in the crazy market, but it's still a good affordable house because the big thing that we really invest in is affordable housing. And as of right now too, even in DFW, it's not very easy to find a very nice house that's around $200,000 that's fully renovated, right? I mean, if you were to look in Dallas, I mean, you're probably looking at, or for a lot of cities, right, $350,000, $400,000 for an entry-level house. But it's an affordable house, so it's a good dilemma to have, and I guess I'll record a video on what we decide to do once we do it. We're also considering short-term leasing it as well, because that'll give us, probably 2.5 to 3 times what our normal rent. If we're able to find a tenant in the area that may have gotten water damage, may have got fire damage, may have gotten any other type of natural disaster to their house, they're getting it renovated. So we're looking at that option as well. So we'll keep you guys posted and record a video and let you guys know what we end up doing. All right, guys, the craziest thing just happened to me, right? As we were in the house, kind of looking and meeting with the contractor, a gentleman walks in and says, "Hey, can I come in the house? I just wanted to stop by. I actually used to live here 40 years ago or so." And I'm like, "Yeah, of course." And he was just kind of at awe and said, "You know what? It's just crazy. I haven't stepped foot inside this house since we lived here with my mother about 40 years ago." So here's the interview that we did with him, which I thought it was pretty unique and pretty crazy. Here you go. I'm here with Joey, a new friend that I just met actually today. It was a coincidence. We were actually going to record some content talking about the renovation on this property in Sherman. And what a coincidence. Joey just happened to stop by and he said, "Hey, is it okay if I walk in and kind of look at this place?" I'm like, "Sure, of course." And lo and behold, he actually grew up in this house. And I just thought it was a unique story that, you guys probably want to hear. So Joey, thanks for stopping by. And I'm sure you got a lot of memories, right? Stopping by and,
sure.
Your property. So tell me, so you lived here for a few years when you were growing up?
My mother, my brother and I moved here in 1965. And then we lived here for 3 years, and I remember there's a big tree out in the backyard, and I remember we'd camp out there. And I remember one night some guys and I decided we would go to a nearby house to steal some apples off an apple tree. Unfortunately, they were all green, but we ate them anyway. We went back to our tent, and halfway through the middle of the night, all of us got sick to our stomachs because we had eaten green apples. But anyway, we lived here in this house for 3 or 4 years, and had a lot of happy memories here. My mother was a secretary for the county judge, and she worked down at the courthouse in Sherman. And my brother and I went to school here in Sherman as well.
No, that's awesome. You know, it's good to hear, and it's actually surprising too that you told me that you pretty much ever since, you know, your family no longer lived in the property and you guys kind of left, you hadn't come back for I don't know how many years, right? Since
Yeah, it's been 55 years since I walked into that house. It was quite a treat because I just happened to be driving by, which I sometimes do, and I noticed the front door was open.
yeah.
And so I knew there were some workmen here, and you know, so I thought, well, maybe I could just walk through. I didn't even know if it was occupied or not.
Yeah, no,
So it was,
coincidence.
empty. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's a coincidence, and it's pretty awesome. And I know you were telling me that you remember even just right on the corner over here that
Yeah.
you used to play with some friends
Oh,
growing
yeah,
up,
there were
right?
some neighborhood kids that would all get together, and we'd walk over to that street corner and we'd play this game called Five-Step Kick, which was just a kind of a football kicking game. Then right down here on the corner, there was a friend of mine named Earl Hopper, and he and I decided we would form a club. And of course, I was the president of the club, and he was the worker of the club.
Yeah.
That was the kind of club I like to be in. Right? But anyway, we had lots of fun here, and you know, the park is only just a few minutes walk to the north of here, and then where they're building the big TI plant is just about 5 to 10 minutes south of here. So it's a great location here in Sherman.
Yeah, I know. I'm excited, and yeah, I mean that's one of the reasons we like the city of Sherman. There's just a lot of activity. I mean, there is a lot of construction on the highway, but I think once that gets done, it's going to be really good for a lot of people and bringing a lot of jobs. And
Sure.
I'm just glad that you stopped by, and it's pretty unique. I mean, I know Joey here is a broker and himself, and he helps clients out in the retail market. So we're now kind of trying to decide if we're going to put it on the retail market or just keep it as a rental. But I just thought it was a unique story, and I'm really glad that we met. And
thanks for
stopping
sharing
by.
with me.
No, thanks for sharing your story.
Yeah,
I'm
you're
glad that we're fixing up the neighborhood a little bit and bringing it back to life. So
I've done a great job on it. Looks really good.
I hope you guys enjoyed the content, and make sure you stay tuned. I know a lot of you guys have different questions or things that I may not covered. So if you guys have any questions related to real estate investing or maybe buying your first house, any question that you may have whatsoever, make sure you put it in the comments, and I'll go through it and I'll respond in the comments, or I'll record some of the videos on the most asked questions for you guys. So stick around to the channel, follow me, make sure you like, subscribe, and if you got value out of it, share it with somebody. I hope you guys are having an amazing day, and we'll see you guys on the next video.